afternoon, everybody. My name is Hani, and I am the Education USA advisor here in the Czech Republic. And I have a special guest today, Jordan, who is joining us. She is currently in Prague, but she is from the United States originally. So that's why we are broadcasting in English today. And it will be about STEM in America. And who doesn't know what STEM is? It's totally okay because Jordan will walk you through the abbreviation and will explain everything. But before I leave the floor for Jordan, I'm just gonna quickly introduce Education USA because I know that I've been doing a lot of high school outreach, and you guys, this might be your first live stream that you are attending. So welcome everybody. Education USA is a free advising center for everyone who would like to study in the United States. So Jordan, if you can please go to the next slide, you'll see that we provide services completely free of charge. And if your dream is to study at American college or university, feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to talk to you about it, to answer your questions. And then if you decide that you would like to apply, I'm happy to walk you through all the steps, starting with researching the schools and financing and application process and so forth. So don't worry, I'm happy to help you make your dream come true. On the next slide, you will see that our advising center is virtual. So Education USA Czech Republic functions virtually. However, you can definitely reach out to me via email, via WhatsApp, via my calendar on our website. So you can book an online consultation right away. And if you are from Olomouc, lucky you, I'm based in Olomouc, we can have an in-person meeting as well. I do travel a lot, so I'm planning to visit Havířov and then to Cheb and so forth. So I'm traveling all over the place. So maybe we'll meet at your school during a presentation, or I'm happy to schedule a consultation online. You can also visit our American centers that are all around the Czech Republic, and they typically have libraries, some books you can borrow, or there are my lovely colleagues who can also do some advising if you have any questions. And lastly, what services do we have? That's going to be my last slide. So definitely free consultations. They can be in English, they can be in Czech. Jordan, next slide, please. Thank you. No, you're good. So if your parents have any questions, or if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. We also have a library. So if you already know that you are going to the US and you just need some SAT prep books, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to lend you some. And then we do live streams such as this one, or we will have live streams about it's actually with a Czech student who is in his first year at University of Indiana, Bloomington. And we will have a live stream together next week, and he's going to talk in Czech about his experience and how does he feel at an American institution. So feel free to join. So we do different events. Everything that's happening is going to be on our social media under the handle Education USA Czech. Or you can also scan the QR code, and there is going to be our newsletter, which is fresh and new every month. So feel free to follow, and you won't miss a thing. And now let me hand it over to Jordan. Thank you, Jordan, so much for joining and for preparing the STEM topic for our students.
Hey, I'm so excited to talk about STEM in America. I have been in Prague for the past about 2 months, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so beautiful here. It's going to be hard to go home for sure, but I love where I'm from as well. But just a little bit about me, I thought I'd have a little slide just so you can get to know me a bit more. I'm from North Carolina, specifically Lake Norman. If you guys want to look that up on a map, I go to the University of South Carolina, which is in the southern US. So go Gamecocks. That's a picture of me and one of my best friends there in the top middle. I am majoring in biochemistry and molecular biology, and I have a minor in business administration. And if majors and minors sound a bit off, don't worry, I'm going to explain them a bit later. But I am currently in my third year of my undergraduate degree, getting a bachelor's in science. And my career plans is that I hope to work in cancer research, specifically immunology, which is like the trying to find like cures and treatments for cancers, and then I want to go back to school and get my PhD once I have a little bit of savings. But my favorite things about my school are definitely American football games, like the picture. We block off about a kilometer of the road in like my downtown area where I go to college. There's a big farmers market every Saturday, rain or shine. It's really fun. And I'm also in a sorority at USC. So that's me and one of my sorority sisters in the top left corner. I'm
Mhm.
also involved in quite a few clubs at USC. I am in club wakeboarding, which you can see me and my coach in the bottom right. I'm in the American Chemical Society, where we have a lot of presenters come and speak to us about different topics. It's mostly based on the science side of STEM,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's really great. A lot of events. And then also, I am president of Circle K International, which is a service organization. Just some fun facts. I drive a Jeep, which is in the bottom left-hand corner. I have 3 dogs, and I'm currently studying in the Czech Republic.
Mhm.
Oh. All right, so getting started, what is STEM in the US? So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. This graph may make it seem like they're very divided, like they're very much their own thing, but they're very integrated into each other. It deals with almost every real world problem you could think of, such as climate change, AI, healthcare. US universities often encourage double majors and minors, kind of like the one that I have, that can kind of blend all of the different types of STEM. I have a friend who is currently a biomedical engineering major and she has a minor in math. So they like you to be all-encompassing in STEM, but they really put an emphasis on how to think and not just memorizing, the periodic table or, an equation. They really want you to be able to apply it, which I have found really nice. It's also very much an inquiry-based learning. So you're constantly questioning things and testing your ideas, which is really fun. And they also really put an emphasis on how iteration and failure are expected parts of STEM. Um, my boss that I work for in my research lab, which I'll talk about a little bit later, has always said that if you're not failing, you're not trying. So I really like that ideology and try to stick with that when, maybe my experiments aren't working, but I'm learning a lot from them. So why STEM matters in the US? It's a lot about economic growth. It really drives up our GDP and productivity. It fuels those high growth industries like the ones at the top, biotech, AI, and aerospace innovation. STEM also creates a lot of jobs constantly because you're constantly evolving or constantly learning new things. So the job growth is significantly higher than non-STEM fields right now. STEM careers often also have a higher average salary and super strong job stability because we are constantly evolving and learning new things. Um, there's also innovating ecosystems connecting universities, government, and private companies. Particularly in my case that I know of, my university works with a lot of private companies to get data that maybe we're not able to complete at the university level, but we can send what we have off to them, and then they can give us the results back, and we kind of work together to accomplish what we're researching. And STEM investment is viewed as essential for long-term economic power. So there's a lot in the US that thrives off of STEM. So making sure that the US is leading is typical.
Mhm.
So getting a bit more into the structure of the US education system, it is a bit different, but follows a similar pattern. So we go to school from our primary and secondary education are start at 5 and you graduate high school when you're 18 years old. And then you go to your undergraduate, which is a 4 year, and you get a bachelor's degree, which is either a bachelor's in arts or a bachelor's in science. Um, in the US, students are admitted into university, but they might not be admitted into a particular program. For example, my younger sister goes to a different school in the US and she went in, it's called undeclared. So basically, you're just taking your common classes, you're figuring out what you think you want to study, which I know is a little bit different than here, where kind of once you start going to high school, you kind of pick a path of where you think you're going to go. Another thing is that most US universities, you don't just like go to Yale and Harvard and all that kind of stuff because they're Yale and Harvard. You go to the one that's best for your major, like what you want to do. For example, South Carolina has the number one international business program in the US. So we have people from all over the world coming just to do this one major at South Carolina, and they don't even offer it at any of the Ivies. So um, just kind of a typical thing. But getting in a bit more to majors and minors, majors are going to be what your primary academic focus is, and specifically in your upper level years, those are usually going to be the only classes you're taking. But a minor is a secondary concentration that either can complement the major or can be something completely different. Like I said, in terms of complementing majors and minors, I have a friend who's studying engineering and math, but I also have friends who are doing biochemistry and Spanish because they want to work in the healthcare field, so they feel like having another language is just really beneficial for them. And double majors are possible. That's what I'm doing. And they're fairly common. It just depends on usually how fast you can get through both majors because typically you only go to there for 4 years. But moving on to graduate school, you can do a master's degree, which is a 1 to 3 year program, depending on what you're studying. In STEM, I have only seen 2 to 3 year programs, which, STEM takes a bit longer. And then you can also get your PhD, which is 3 to 6 years. Usually for STEM, it's ranging on that 6+ year range, just because you have a lot of research and a lot of things to do. But if you don't want, either you can go straight from your undergraduate degree into the workforce. You could go to graduate school and go to the workforce, or you could go to professional school. So specifically for STEM, we'd focus on medicine, dentistry, and pharmacy. Um, the 3 to 7 years is a bit misleading because at least for medical school, that's what I'm most familiar with. You go to 4 years of like, sitting down, doing work on your computer, that kind of school, and then you have a 3 year program where you're in the hospitals working, and then you typically have another 3 to 7 years of more school. So it's quite a lot of learning, but I know plenty of people who love medical school and are doing great. So in terms of preparing for STEM in the universe, or sorry, of my misspelling, preparing for STEM in America, these are the types of classes that US high schoolers would take. So you have your normal classes, which are just typical, normal rigor, that kind of stuff. Honors have a bit more of a rigorous course load, and they just go into depth about the topic a little bit more and are typically more impactful on your GPAs. Um, Dual enrollment, you're actually enrolled in a local community college, which community colleges are like 2 year programs that have classes like for dual enrollment students or for people just trying to get a little bit farther in their career or maybe saving money to go to a 4 year university. But typically, the dual enrollment classes, you'll be able to transfer to whatever 4 year university you have. And similar with AP classes in the IB program, there's just a lot of rigor. Definitely take up quite a bit of time, but usually students in STEM will come in with quite a few college credits already. For example, I came in with 60 college credits, which is 2 years of university done. So that's why I'm able to double major and have a minor because I got a lot of my college complete before I was even there. On to entrance exams. If you're going to any 4 year university, they had it changed for a bit because of COVID, where they were test optional. I believe most of them are back to requiring, but I know there's a few that just said we're not taking them anymore. So definitely do your research on when you're deciding what university you'd want to go to. And I'm assuming that a lot of you guys are trying to go for all 4 years. But if you just go for a semester or two, I'm almost positive you don't have to take the SAT or ACT. But generally, you would have to take it. They are just long tests that that the college uses to assess you before you get there. They're very similar. They ha both have reading, English and math sections with an optional writing section, and then the ACT also has a science section. Um, People usually like one test over the other. Particularly, I like the SAT, even though it wasn't as STEM focused. I just had more time to do it. But yeah, that's probably enough about those. But about STEM, US universities, this map is actually from South Carolina's website, and it's all the STEM universe or all the STEM majors that we offer. Um, there's a lot of opportunities within each. So even the, red majors are the ones that are very specialized, which, biochemistry is up there. But there's so many opportunities with every single major, no matter how specific it is. For example, biochemistry, I've seen people go into like medical consulting. I've seen people go straight into research and design. I've seen people go to medical school, dentistry, dental school, pharmacy school. So there's a lot of options no matter which one you pick. So don't be scared if you're thinking about majoring in the reds, like don't be scared. They're even though they're pretty specific, there's so many opportunities for jobs within all of them. So, what makes US STEM unique? So there's a lot of undergraduate research opportunities, which is probably my favorite part. Along with hands-on lab experience, you have really close access to your professors. Um, so in terms of research and hands-on experience, I joined my research lab in fall of my second year at university, and undergraduates usually work with faculty members, being like professors and graduate students, and you're doing work for a project. They're not just like, giving you something random to do. So you're really adding to whatever research is already out there, which is really cool. Students can get paid or receive academic credit. I'm not sure how it would work with visas and getting paid abroad for work, but you can usually earn academic credit for it, and it looks pretty good on your transcript whenever you're going to apply for jobs that you're able to say like, oh, I had, this experience and it's on my resume. So I've done both. But yeah, it's really great. I just got published on my first paper as well. So yeah, you're really involved. You're getting to know the ins and outs of the industry. You also gain a lot of really great connections through it. For example, like I just had an internship over winter break, and it was through a like friend that my grad student knew, who their company was looking for interns for the winter. So I got a really cool experience with that, and really learned how to dive through papers, which is definitely going to help me my last year of school. But probably the most unique thing about US like university is having access to your professors. At South Carolina, they require that professors hold office hours. So it's basically they have to block 4 hours off in their week where they just sit in their office and students will go and like ask them questions. And it's just a lot less intimidating. It's very friendly. You get to have a conversation with them and really get to know them. And that's how a lot of people end up in research labs. That's how I ended up in my research lab. I had my uh, boss, who was my professor at the time. I was really interested with his research, and I kind of already had that connection because he was my professor. So it's cool.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of summer research programs, they're called REUs. They stand for Research Experience for Undergraduates, and a lot of them are funded by the U.S. National Science Foundation, but they can like you'll go and conduct full-time research over the summer, often at a different university. South Carolina doesn't have any REUs, but I did look at ones at Johns Hopkins that looked super cool. So if you're interested about any type of summer research, please let me know. I can give you lots of information on it. But the programs usually cover like your housing, you'll have a stipend, and helping you like get to wherever you're going. But they're highly competitive, but they look great on your resume whenever you're applying for jobs. And then publications and conferences, like I mentioned before, I'm currently getting um, co-author a paper that will be coming out very soon. Like references, and there will be professors, students, and then also usually people in the community who are also coming to look, and a lot of jobs will like send scouts out so that they can, talk to you and be interested to work or whatever.
Mhm.
And probably have this competitive thing, right? They're very strongly encouraged because you get that real world experiences before graduation. So you know how you react and like
Jordan, I
work
feel like you're
in that
freezing
type of
a
environment
little
that
bit.
can you return off once you graduate, which is really, but they every single company has interns. Okay.
Sorry, you are freezing a bit.
What was the
So
last thing that you heard?
if we can cover the internships again, please. Hopefully it will catch up. Yeah. Hello? Are you still here? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, perfect. If we can maybe start the internship
Okay.
slide once again.
Okay.
It was
Sorry
a
about
little bit freezing. No, you're good. You're good.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, internships are just strongly encouraged. They're really common and they give you real world experience before you graduate, which is super nice.
Mhm.
And they often lead to return offers once you graduate, so you can go and actually work for the company um, once you graduate. But almost every company now has some type of internship program.
Mhm.
Specifically, I worked for a biotech um, company and they produce different types of tests for spinal and brain cancer. So getting to learn about, the research side of things and also the business side of biotech was really cool. Hospitals will often have pre-med students. So if you are planning to go to med school, you're considered a pre-med student in your undergraduate degree. But they will have a bunch of students come and you have to get shadowing hours to be able to go to medical school. So basically, when you're following around a doctor and kind of just seeing what hospitals are like, seeing what treatment is like. So lots of interns in hospitals over the summer. I had quite a few friends doing that. And then same with engineering and tech startups, just getting to learn the ropes and kind of seeing what industry is really like.
That's great.
So kind of maybe the scary one that you guys will definitely have to get more information on is cost and funding, but I'm hoping I can give you just a little bit of peace of mind. So there's
There's
public and
just one
private
thing.
universities.
You're
So
not
public
sharing
universities,
your screen
yes.
anymore. We don't see your screen anymore. So
Oh
if we can.
no.
Now it's fine. The internships we saw, but now going to the
Interesting.
financing. If we can try again with the sharing, it's fine. And
Sorry.
yes, perfect. Hopefully, I can see your beautiful background and I can see the slides, but you are frozen. I cannot hear you. Oh, that's the technology. Yeah.
Let's see if we can connect.
I can hear you now. It's just the screen is frozen right now with the presentation. if it's okay, we can cover it just
I,
without the share screening, if that's okay with
can
you.
you see the screen now or no?
Now I can see the screen. Yes, I can see the presentation now. Oh, okay. And now I'm here alone. Oh, this is funny.
Okay.
Hi
I am
again.
so sorry.
No,
This is
you're good.
okay.
Let's try this again.
Okay, I think we got it this time.
Perfect. Yes,
Okay, are
okay,
we good?
perfect.
Oh, okay. So in terms of public versus private universities, public universities are funded by the state's government and often have a lower tuition for in-state students, and out-of-state and international students typically pay a higher tuition price um, than you would if you went in-state.
Mhm.
For private universities, they don't receive the same state funding, so they often have a higher sticker price, but um, private universities often have larger institutional scholarships that they commonly give out, but the published tuition price is usually not what people pay. There's lots of scholarships, grants, and research stipends, which I'm about to get into. Um, so a scholarship is a merit-based financial award that doesn't need to be repaid. It can be based on academics, athletics, or leaderships and special talents. Many universities automatically consider applicants for scholarships. And then external organizations and foundations also provide scholarships. So a lot of nonprofits will have some type of scholarship. Sometimes businesses will have scholarships, lots of things, but you definitely have to put in the time to look into them, but it's so worth it in the end. And also STEM students typically qualify for some field-specific scholarship,
Mhm.
which is why I have quite a few of those. And then grants are typically needs-based aid and don't require any repayment either. You can have grants from either the government or an institution. Eligibility is usually based on family income and financial circumstances, and grants typically reduce the overall cost of attendance quite significantly. And then in terms of research stipends, they're available to graduate and undergraduate students, and they just provide financial support while students are working in labs or they're working on research projects. Funding can come from either faculty grants, government agencies, or university programs, and it still allows students to gain experience while still earning an income. Personally, I have all three of these, and so I don't actually pay for an out-of-state public university. So it definitely, the sticker shock is very real and it was very true for me and my family, but there's so many great organizations out there that want to help you and want to make sure that you get educated, and it's really awesome. But definitely putting in the work to find all of those scholarships can take some time.
I'm gonna jump in real quick, Jordan. You guys who are applying from the Czech Republic, definitely take a look at Bakala Foundation or the Kellner Family Foundation, because these can help you with financing the degree seeking education. Okay, so there are foundations in the Czech Republic that will help you financially. If you're not sure how to look for the information, reach out to me and I'm happy to help you out. Yeah.
Yes. So, international students in STEM. So, there are optional practice training, which allows international students to work in the US after completing their degree. So, this is definitely far down the road, but always a good place to know where you want to end up. Students can also work a job directly related in their field of study, and standard OPT provides up to 12 months of work authorization, but there's STEM extensions that will allow you to stay for up to 36 months.
Mhm.
So these programs are really cool, and I actually just learned about them when I was creating this presentation, and it was like a really amazing thing to learn about. So wanted to share that with you guys, but also um, work experience during OPT can strengthen graduate school applications if you wanted to go to grad school in the US. You could either pursue a master's or a PhD, and US graduate programs value research and industry experience when you're applying. So it's very common that when you're applying to grad school, um, that you've already worked in an industry for about 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
So having that OPT would be very helpful. So why international students choose the US for STEM? So
Mhm.
we have so many research opportunities, and the US universities really emphasized hands-on research at both an undergraduate and graduate level. Students can work in advanced labs with brand new technology, which is really interesting and fun. Personally, one of our labs that is in the building that I work in got a new machine right before I left for the Czech Republic, and I actually drove down to go see it because I was so excited about it. Which may be a little nerdy of me, but I'm really excited to use it when I go back and work for the summer. But
Mhm.
many institutions also receive significant federal research funding, particularly the lab that I work in is only funded by the government. So there's a lot of different, you learn a lot more about that type of funding. And also, undergraduates are often published on papers, which is amazing when no matter if you're going into industry or you're applying to grad school.
Mhm.
The US also holds a global reputation within STEM, and it's consistently highly ranked globally. So degrees from the US are widely recognized by employers worldwide, and a lot of major scientific breakthroughs actually originate in the US, and faculty often includes leading researchers. So the professor that I work for goes and presents at conferences around the US probably at least every week or two. So it is really cool to be a part of something bigger than yourself and see it all come together, especially, at 18, 19, 20. So it's very interesting. Also, with US universities, is there's so much flexibility in changing majors and exploring different things. I actually considered having a minor in Spanish for quite a while. I've done half of it, and then I decided that I wanted to pursue my business major a little bit more because I wanted to go into the biotech industry. Just so having that knowledge was a bit more important to me. But students often, even if you change majors, you typically don't have to start over your entire 4 years. You usually roll into the next one if they're closely related enough. I'll talk a little bit more, but I did change majors after my first semester of my freshman or my first year. So having that kind of safety net is a nice thing to just like know about.
Mhm.
And lastly, for career paths, the universities and industries typically have a pretty strong tie. Like I talked about before, my lab works with a private company. So we have kind of that relationship already established. And I know other labs within USC have a similar thing.
Mhm.
And then internships and the OPT opportunities that I talked about earlier, and the extension on OPT for STEM fields.
Mhm.
So kind of to almost wrap things up is my life as a STEM student. I take about 16 to 18 credit hours a semester. The typical max is 18. So each lecture is 3 credit hours, which is 3 hours of lecture a week. And each lab is between 1 to 2 credit hours, and that's 3 to 5 hours a week. It kind of just depends on what type of lab it is. Usually the upper level labs are the 2 credit hours, and you meet for 5 hours a week. And
Mhm.
then I'm in my research lab for 20 hours a week, which is quite a bit, but as I've gotten more comfortable and I've starting to do my own research, I definitely go in a lot more. Sometimes I'll just go in on the weekends to get some stuff done, or it's really quiet. So sometimes I go there to do homework.
Uh-huh.
And then I study for about 15 hours a week. I will say probably half of that is spent with my friends. Like I talked about, where I love doing like study dates in coffee shops near campus. And university life is very social. So you're constantly seeing people, always maybe just like a little wave, say hi. But yeah, it's absolutely great. I love it. So last thing is my journey in STEM. So my inspiration is my uncle that is on the left. He lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. So after that, I just became enveloped in, oh my gosh, there's so much cool medicine out there. So I was really into prosthetics and reconstructive plastic surgery. So decided, okay, I was probably like 13 at the time, that I was like, okay, I really want to look into this and hopefully pursue this at university whenever I get there in 5 years. And then I started seeing the need for medical intervention in my community. So this graph in like the top middle is the incidence rates of a type of thyroid cancer that is very rare in the US. But the average, or the US average incidence rate, is around 17. So this is the county that I live in, which just like the general area, and it is quite elevated and we don't really have any answers on it. So I started falling in love with oncology and kind of that side of science, the more like specialized in cellular type of science. Um, and then I decided I was going to go to med school and I wanted to pursue biomedical engineering. And then I got to university and I did one semester as a biomedical engineering student, and I decided it wasn't the major I was looking for. I was looking for more work with cells and rather than more and less metal, I guess. Um and I decided it just wasn't going to prepare me for medical school like I thought it had. So I had a TA who was getting her PhD in genetics, and she just finished her Bachelor's of Science in biochemistry. So I decided, let's try that out. I know I want to do something in science, so I'm not going to get too behind. So I got into the biochemistry major, and I've loved it ever since. And then I joined a research lab. So those pictures on the right side is me on my second day in my lab. And that bottom picture is my lab group. We are the Truex group. Once I joined my research lab, I was absolutely hooked on it. I thought it was really cool that I could be a part of the solution rather than just the diagnosis. And it seemed to combine what I originally wanted to do and my current goal of, just like helping people, and specifically those with cancer. And then I decided that medical school wasn't for me and I wanted to pursue a graduate school program. So this is all still, work in the making, but that's kind of all that I have. I
That's
hope I answered some
awesome.
question for you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jordan. Like, I'm so happy to see so many live viewers, and there are people from Slovakia as well, which is great. Hello, everybody, again. So, there are some questions, otherwise, I think that it was very clear what you said. But the
Okay,
first question
beautiful.
is, what is wakeboarding?
Okay, fair enough. It's kind of like snowboarding, but on the water.
Okay,
So
do
you're
you do
towed
that
behind a
like,
boat.
okay, is that like a fun activity, or do you do it like on a sports scholarship?
Unfortunately, I don't have a scholarship for it. I wish I did. It's not very big in the US either. But I
Uh-huh.
competed at the pro level for a couple years, and then I went to college.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so that was the first question here. So I was like, let's answer that. People were asking about the OPT for 3 years. That's something that they take advantage of if they are studying STEM majors in the United States. And it's great that even international students can have a part-time job on campus. Um, it's 20 hours per week for an international student. Students are asking if USC was your first choice when you applied to
Okay.
universities.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I go to not Southern California. I go to one on the other side of the coast, but it was not my first choice. It was actually probably my third or fourth.
Uh-huh.
But I'd gotten into the honors college there, and it's the number one ranked honors college in at public universities in the US. And with scholarships and, I had done a little bit of research into, what kind of research that they were doing there, and I found some labs that looked really interesting and I thought would be really cool.
Mhm.
And it all kind of just fell into place. And yeah, so I absolutely would not change a thing. Definitely the first semester, I kind of was like, oh, I could have gone somewhere else, but I am so beyond happy where I ended up.
Oh, great. Okay, I think that this person wants to connect with you and see what your college list looked like so that,
Yes, please do.
yeah,
I can
okay,
go to the next.
perfect.
Yeah, I can go to
Yeah,
the next one. That's all
there
my
you go.
information. Please feel
That's
free to reach out on
awesome.
whatever is easiest.
Awesome. There are some questions about the research lab, like how hard is
Yes.
it to get into the research lab? Like, is it
Mhm.
available for everyone, or do I have to have some special powers, apparently?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually spent quite a long time getting into my research lab. I really wanted this one specifically. So I'd applied to others and I had gotten offers for them, and I did my first week in there and I just didn't love it. So for me, my process was a lot of cold emailing to professors that I had like looked up what kind of research they did, found stuff that I was interested in, um, and cold emails with my resume saying, "Hey, I'd love to have an interview with you. I'd love to see your lab, whatnot." Got, I think I sent probably 15 cold emails. I probably got 5 responses back, and then I got, I think, 2 or 3 offers, and then of
Mhm.
course the one from the lab that I work in now. But that took me about 4 months.
Mhm.
I definitely probably did it the longer way because I really wanted this specific lab, but definitely do your research and know that you are serving them as much as they are serving you. So making sure you are in a place that you want to be, I think, is like the most important part.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, that's very interesting. I think that this person, okay, that this person is going to reach out to you directly, like how to do
Please
that.
do.
So, yes. There is a question if you are planning to continue to med school afterwards.
So I did plan to continue to med school, but US medical school is very expensive. It takes a very long time, and I kind of realized that I wanted to be more a part of the solution rather than just diagnosing. A
Mhm.
really cool thing that you can look into is an MD PhD program. So you actually get you're a medical doctor and a doctor of philosophy. So it does take a very, very, very long time, and usually people choose one if they like researching more or if they like patient care more. But it is usually funded. So
Mhm.
you're not going into a lot of debt for that.
Mhm. Mhm. Interesting. And there is one last, oh, there are
Mhm.
actually two questions, but one is a suggestion, so I'll leave that up
Okay.
to the last one. But would you stay at USC for grad school?
You absolutely can. I would probably go somewhere else just because I want to try out a new city. I've only
Oh.
ever lived in Southern America, so I would really love to try to move up north. Chicago is a really big hub for biotech, so that would be the dream. But plenty of people do stay at their undergraduate universities for grad school.
Awesome. And then the last question is, can we do a summer research program live stream next? So that's something that Jordan and I will discuss because that probably like there were like 3 requests of that. So
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. I'm so happy that you guys took some notes, that you got inspired. I got inspired. So thank you so much, Jordan. Guys, if you have any more questions, Jordan shared her Instagram and TikTok. So feel free to reach out. You can also write us an email or just ping us a question underneath the live stream and we will get back to it. Thank you again so much. Sorry for the technical issues, but that's just life. We managed. Thank you, Jordan.
yes.
And we are happy that you were here with us
Thank
today.
you.
Bye.
Yes,